Hey guys, this is Tyler McKinney from TM33 Sports Talk, and I want to talk to you today about the XFL and its exciting style of football. I truly believe that the XFL is going to succeed, and one of the reasons why I believe that it's going to succeed is because of the brand of football it's going to be putting out on the football field. I think it's something that really we haven't seen in any other league besides really the NFL and college football. And I think it's one of the areas where a lot of these startup football leagues have had an issue with and really haven't built things correctly. And I believe the XFL is going to fix that. So let's go ahead and let's take a little bit of a walk down memory lane, if you don't mind to, with me for a second, because you'll see where I'm going with this. So back in the late 90s and the early 2000s, the ESPN tried something. Kind of, if you remember, back with college football, back on like Tuesday nights and Thursday nights, they started this football where they started showing, these mid-major conference football games, and if you remember, they showed like MAC teams and they showed like WAC teams, and believe it or not, they did well. They really had good ratings so much so that now that's why you see a lot of like major college football on Thursday nights, on Friday nights. You'll see the NFL on Thursday night now, Thursday night football. It all really can be thanks to and thankful for what ESPN did with the mid-major football, D1 football, back in the late 90s and the early 2000s. And the type of football that they brought, it was high-powered, high offenses. Now, some of the defenses were a little lacking in that. But, man, they had high-scoring games. And just these bouts that were just exciting to watch with, some of these really cool quarterbacks and, neat wide receivers, running backs, these high-scoring games, 35, 28, 34, 31 games that were just electric and they were fun to watch. And that's what led to, like I said, to really Thursday night NFL football. People saw that they wanted that. And I hope that that's the style of football that the XFL brings. And I think they've really set themselves up to do that. I think that they're going to create this league to really be pass-friendly league. I don't think they're going to hold anything back, and I don't think that it's going to be something where they're going to do some type of a rule like with the AAF, and you can only blitz 5 guys, and you get a illegal defense or something like that. I don't think it's going to be anything like that. What I think they're going to do is they're going to entice these guys who can still play to come and play football. And they're going to put a brand of football out in the field that is exciting. They're not just going to run these offenses kind of like what we saw with the AAF that are just kind of a little bit of a shell of what the NFL is running and kind of like some of these things. I think they're really going to get innovative with this stuff. They're going to bring these electric, high-powered offenses in there. People want to see that. Believe it or not, people are going to tune in high-powered, high-scoring games. And that's what they really need. They need people to tune in. It has nothing to do with whether or not, granted they need good football, but it's not around, it's going to be the best game out there. They really need to make things meaningful for people to watch right now. Because right now, outside of watchability, there really is, unfortunately, their brand of football really doesn't mean anything. It doesn't hold anything. Whereas, like, the Vince Lombardi Trophy for the NFL, the NFL game means something, right? The college, the SEC means something. That SEC game, that Big Ten game, they mean things. Those bowl games, getting into that title picture, that stuff means things. But right now, the XFL really doesn't, have that weight to it. So they really need to draw people in, and the high-powered offense is the way to do it. And if they can get some of these guys that ran some of these high-powered offenses in college, I think that's going to be just ecstatic. And the other thing is if they can get some of these guys from college to come and play for them, is like if they're not eligible for the NFL and that, I really do feel like that they're really building a brand around that. If they can provide something that the NFL isn't, and people are excited about it and they're watching it, all of a sudden, you might see some changes, some things. So I'm really, really excited about it. One of the other things with it that is really encouraging with this is that when you looked at the AAF, what was really lacking in the AAF, and it really showed. When you looked at the Apollos, they had really good quarterback play. One team had a really good quarterback. The rest of them, they had some quarterbacks here and there, but they struggled, and it kind of showed. I mean, you had the Apollos who really stood out from the pack, and that's really going to be key to them. And I think that they understand that. They really need to get some quarterbacks in there, and I think they can have running quarterbacks, and I think that they can have they can open up and spread open some of these offenses as opposed to just running just these offenses that are really, I don't know, sometimes I want to call them archaic, but they're really not. They're running, just a light version of an NFL offense, which really isn't exciting. Doesn't really give you, really intense fun games. Those high-powered, high-octane games that, people like to watch. But if you can get some of these quarterbacks and pull some of these quarterbacks and say, hey, give them a little bit of money and give them a little bit more incentive to not be on a practice squad, and you can start getting some of these 3 and, 4th string guys and keep them off of some of these practice squads, all of a sudden now you're looking at something. Because really these guys, when you're looking at really the 3rd and 4th tier in the NFL, these are guys that, change a couple things, and these guys are on the field. I mean, we're not talking about just trying to find anybody, and that we're really looking at that. And if they can pay these guys, which it looks like their financial structure that they've set themselves up to do this with those type of guys, and also pull in some of these kind of electric running backs or wide receivers or some of the these other players that they can give a little bit more money to. I think it'd be surprised. That was one thing that really stood out to me when I was watching the AAF. You never really saw actual speed on the field. I mean, you never really saw a running back just break it and be able to break it wide open and run it for 50 yards. You didn't really see that. You didn't see wide receivers pulling away from from the pack. It just there wasn't that specialness that you get with some of those elite NFL talent, and so if you can pay some of these guys and get them, from being buried in some of these rosters, I think which is going to be huge. But again, I'm excited about this, but there's a lot of ifs with it, and some of the hires and some of the things that they've done have just made me really excited that I think they're going to be bringing a cool style of football in here. So I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, guys, if you like this video, please hit the like. If you want to get more of my content, please subscribe. Hit that bell notification button. You'll get notified every time I put up another video. Well, I know you're busy, and I know I'm busy. So you guys have a good night. Take care.